Joining me is the former Deputy Prime Minister, a regular on Newsday, Michael McCormack. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure,
your party room's considered this olive branch from Sussan Ley.
We have, and we've responded.
Where's it at?
Well, we've responded accordingly. We've drafted a letter to go back to the Liberals. We want to work in good faith with the Liberal Party to reunite the parties. That's important. That's absolutely imperative that we do that. And there's a bit of time. There's no rush for these sorts of things. We don't want to do what Labor did and rush legislation through the Parliament. We want to make sure that we do it in a careful, considered fashion, and that's what our response is.
It's gone back?
It's considered.
Can you share with us, or
No.
you can't divulge what you've said back?
No, but it's careful, it's considered, it's appropriate, and it's diplomatic.
It's diplomatic. OK, so that means you've come a little bit their way, but
Well, I think everybody needs to be sensible about this. We do need cool and wise heads to prevail. We can't just keep on going like we are at the moment. Question time yesterday was interesting to sit in. One of the more interesting question times I've sat through in my 15 years here. And we just need to ensure that Australians know that we have their backs and that we're not indeed just occupying all of our time with the inner machinations and the inner workings of the coalition, that we are actually talking about the interest rate rises, that we are talking about inflation, we are talking about the cost of living, the NDIS shambles. There's so many other different aspects of life that is hard for Australians.
When you say yesterday was interesting in question time, it really, to me, it highlighted the dysfunction right now between your parties, in the sense that the government should have been on the back foot, but they weren't.
Well,
in fact, they were laughing.
That 2:30 announcement when the interest rates went up 25 base points, that's going to mean a whole lot more money is going to have to be found to pay off the mortgage repayments.
But the government wasn't on the back foot.
Well, they weren't. And they should have been.
They should have been, shouldn't they?
They should have been. But mind you, they never answered the question anyway. There's always that smugness from the Treasurer about how bad the economy was that we inherited. I mean,
but at least you could have been more. You could have been more disciplined and cohesive if you were together.
Indeed, I don't disagree.
You're a coalitionist. You believe
absolutely,
that's the case?
100%.
There are some within both parties who think, no, stuff it. Let's be done with it.
Well, it was interesting, even though both parties weren't, I suppose, swapping questions. This is the Liberals and the Nationals. Both David Littleproud, the Nationals leader, and Sussan Ley, the Opposition leader, both asked the question, and a good question, about the interest rates and what this meant for the Australian economy. Well, Jim Chalmers, of course, went on about the economy we inherited. He forgets the fact that we needed to spend money to keep people alive and keep jobs going during COVID. And they always conveniently forget that fact, that we did spend the money that we needed through Josh Frydenberg and Greg Hunt, and, of course, under the Morrison government, to keep the Australian economy going and, more importantly, keep Australian people alive.
It sounds like it is acrimonious in parts of this split as well, where some Nationals are being punted off committees and various other things, where not only do you get a set level of seniority in those committees, but you get an extra payment and so on.
Staff, resources.
Staff.
And those things are important, because when you are, say, on a show like...
But if you don't resolve this...
Well, exactly. You lose them all and they all go to Liberals.
Well,
that's an important thing too, because if you're going to prosecute an argument, and if you're going to keep a government accountable, a bad government accountable for, say the road situation, which is crumbling all throughout regional Australia, you need to know exactly what the situation is, and you can't do that without the resources, without the staffing, and without the travel eligibility. And so it is important that we do ensure we have shadow ministers as Nationals, particularly. I mean, we represent so much of Australia, so much of regional Australia, but they're vast areas. We need to get around those areas.
How do you reflect on this threat from One Nation right now?
Just going back, you mentioned acrimony. I would more call it disappointment, but we'll work through that. One Nation, well, look, we've got to take it credibly. We can't just dismiss it, but it is people, dissatisfied people, who are concerned about their cost of living and the real bread and butter issues. I think lodging a bit of a protest with the pollster who rings up and says, what do you feel? And sometimes the questions are prompted and led. Look, I think this is a bit of an aberration. I truly do. And I appreciate
think they'll come back?
Well,
I mean, in your area, Riverina, Wagga, it's not One Nation heartland. You go up to Central Queensland, North Queensland, that sort of area, they've voted One Nation before.
Yes,
you could lose several seats.
And we don't want that. And we need to make sure that we are in partnership with the Liberal Party. And look, it's a different story up there because it's the LNP. But we need to be making sure that from Canberra we're united, we're talking about the issues and, more importantly, listening to the issues that people are telling us. We're acting on them when we get to Canberra. We're not talking about the inner workings of the coalition and who's filling what position.
Well, that's the other point, isn't it? Someone, you've served at the highest levels of government. Does it frustrate you when those internal issues are dominating? Because right now...
Frustration's a good word for it, Kieran.
Talk on both sides. Talk on both sides of your coalition.
Yeah, true.
Former coalition.
Yeah, true. And I am frustrated about it. But, let's let this process work through. Let's let cool and wise heads prevail. We've got a bit of time. And we can work through this in a sensible way. Practical people need to make pragmatic decisions for the best for Conservative side of politics and make sure we get back on the right foot, on the same foot, working in unison. That's
within, between the coalition parties, but also in terms of the leadership questions.
True.
Without some unity, it's a cliche, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
Unity is death.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. You've got to be able to govern yourselves.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes this afternoon. Yesterday was interesting. Let's see how today plays out.
Indeed.